Episode 3 of the Complete Beginner's Guide to Eternal Return, and we're going to be going through the final tutorial. This tutorial will teach you what you need to know about credits, transitions, and the final safe zone. What's poppin' everyone, it's your boy Levi, and my cries have finally been answered. It's a glorious day. Eternal Return has recently updated all the tutorials to make them be more beginner friendly, and updated them with correct information. Before we begin the third tutorial, we're going to briefly look back at the previous two again. I won't be going as in-depth as the first two episodes of this series, so check out 1 and 2 for that. Tutorial 1 has been changed from looting and crafting to understanding the basics. As we load in, we have a new cutscene. I recorded my live reaction to all the cutscenes, so check it out in the card above. For now, I'm going to be skipping them though. When you wake up on the beach, we're still Yuki, but now with personality. We also have a checklist on the side, which is a great addition to what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. Love that a lot. We're still going to ignore this garbage build for Yuki though. We take the wins when we get them. I love that we have personality for these characters. Yuki has dialogue interludes between crafting and moving. And the game teaches us about Yuki's individual skills now, which is great. The game has us build a weapon up to blue and then start killing wolves, which, you know, I'll take it. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be fighting wolves before purple weapon, but at least they're prioritizing getting your weapon now. We then get another cutscene of Yuki learning about the island, which is nice. We get more personality when Yuki recognizes the slashes on the bear to be Jackie's axe. We then get a cutscene with Bernice, where he promises to take care of Jackie for Yuki. Yuki is a little insulted that Bernice thinks he needs help to do it, which again, is fitting to Yuki's character. The two then engage in battle. I think Bernice is a good choice for this because he has no mobility spells, and all his abilities are linear. You'll then walk up, and I like how the map is sectioned off here so that players are forced to go one direction. No more options, just tell the player what to do. When you get to the inside of Hotel, you'll see Laura and Jackie again in the scuffle. And, I'm sorry, if you read this argument, does it not sound like a lover's quarrel between two psychopaths? No one on the island knows you like I do? I'm for it. Now this is probably just coincidence, but I'm going to call this a nod to my creating couples video that I did last year. In that video, I stated Jackie and Adriana would be a great lesbian couple, but I also said Yuki would be against same-sex couples. And what do you know? Yuki is breaking up the gays. Take care of Jackie and Laura, and then we get this oddly heartwarming scene of Jackie going into shock. Like, she talks about it being all worth it because she had fun, and Yuki kind of just coldly shuts her down. And that's the end of tutorial 1. For completing it, you still get Yuki. Tutorial 2 has been changed from a guide on mastery to a guide about save plans and targeted items. In this tutorial, you're playing as Hejin, who's true to her character. She feels grief for the loss of Magnus despite him trying to kill her. And which again, more personality, so peep the cinematic reaction if you haven't yet. God, I love it so much, and all I ever wanted was the characters to have more depth. The tutorial then starts with showing you what save plans are. Once again, questionable build here, but it's not the worst ever, I guess. For a guide on how to make save plans, click the card above. This game also tells you that you have to move on when finding all the marked items in your zone. Love that again, and it's going to teach you about hyperlooping. Now you're probably wondering why I'm not complaining about this bear here, especially with the state of our build. And that's because if you try to attack this bear, it will come up with a message now that says bears are the strongest animal on Lumia Island, and you shouldn't fight them without at least a blue weapon or you will die. I do wish it said purple instead of blue, but this is a great change. We're discouraging new players to fight bears without their weapon. I love that. If the player doesn't listen to the warning and dies to the bear, they will respawn at the beginning of the tutorial. You'll then hyperloop to the second area, which is blinking so players know to follow the number order. You're then taught to slay wolves or dogs for leather. I wish this was chickens again, since we don't have our weapon. The hyperloop in factory has been removed, and I think that's fine. The general rule is that if you're going one zone over, which we are to dock, it's fine to walk, but anything more than one zone, you should hyperloop. I'm not sure if players will pick that up without some kind of text indication, but I get the intention. Along the way, we can see an air supply box to the game, which will teach us about those. I wish it gave more of a general idea of what you can find in each box. Like green is temporary food, blue is good food, purple is equipment and rare resources, and gold is transitions. We then get a quick interlude about characters hiding in bushes. They chose Adela. I think it personally should be Hyunwoo, for obvious reasons. We're not going to talk about how this Adela dodges my Q with her E-slide though. I would actually like to see a cutscene about Hyunwoo using his full combo and do like half your health and then teach you about bushes and hiding vision. But this is alright. It then teaches you about vision consoles and how to use them when you enter a new zone, which is a very good thing for new players. You should almost have your full build here in dock. You'll need a bike helmet from Chapel, which is your last zone, but before you do that, the game wants you to take all the hunts in dock and slay some characters. I like this a lot, but I think instead of not finishing your build, now would be a good time to teach players about credit. You could then just call the bike helmet in, and you'd have a full build for this. I think Kiara and William are great choices to fight too. move into the chapel to complete your build, and then take on Luke. Another good choice to fight. When that's done, you'll have a boss fight, kinda, against Shoichi in the chapel. Now Shoichi is kind of a hard counter to Hedgen, so this fight can be a little difficult for newer players. He also does fight back. Now for me, when I use bow skill, I kinda got a weird camera glitch where it zoomed me all the way out and then locked my ability. So don't go off my fight for this. When you do beat Shoichi, you'll complete the tutorial, and you'll get Hedgen as a character. The final tutorial is about the path to ultimate victory. It teaches you about rare resources and transitions. You'll play as Eva, and I think that is a good choice because if you've ever had an Eva in your lobby, they somehow get every single rare resource in the game. After a very heart-touching cutscene, Ava is going to continue on fighting for Nikki. The game is instantly going to trigger your fight or flight by dropping you in a red zone, really pushing us into the deep end. The beginning portion of this tutorial is kind of just a comprehensive guide of the previous tutorials. Red zone and mastery were the previous tutorial too before the updated. Once again, we get our items and pawns. The game won't warn us about the bear this time. That's because we have a blue weapon in our inventory. I do like that we finally get all our items before we do anything though. Great change. And this build really isn't that bad for Ava either. It's a little outdated, but it won't steer you wrong. When we run into Chloe, we get this interlude about how to approach a fight. And I like this a lot because the one thing I struggled with when I first started playing Eternal Return was knowing whether I was stronger or weaker than someone. The game is going to teach you how to first check the weapon mastery and items. Secondly, you're going to compare it to your own mastery and items. I also like that it says probably win and not guaranteed win, so that players know that it will still come down to how you play the fight. Unfortunately for me, Chloe was bugged all times except for my test recording, which I didn't save, and didn't get to fight back. Continue across the bridge when you're done. Next we learn about transitions. For some reason, on the map, all the meteorite locations aren't there. Just a few of them. I would like it to show all the zones for meteorites so players know that trees and meteorites won't double up. The game then puts a transition in your save plan. This is fine. I would like it to show how to do the import transition item from save plans. Card above on how to do that. This also might be a stretch, but I would also like there to be cameras on Chloe's body. And I would like it to teach you to ward the bush as you walk by the meteorite. I think it'd be really great if you don't ward the bush and a Hunwu pops out and wall slams you as a callback to the second tutorial. I think the repetitiveness will help players actually learn that they need to put cameras in bushes as they walk by. And it's also a light and funny moment. When taking the meteorite, we get a cutscene about ISIL coming to contest it. This is good because it teaches players to peel off an objective to deal with the incoming threat. Then we get a short interlude about mutant animals and what credits are and how to use them. Now I don't know why you would ever want to build Prism on Ava, but that's the choice they went with. I wish it also taught you about destroying transitions because you can pick up ISIL's radar. We then get two enemies on the way to the final safe zone. These are both meant to just slow you down on the way and give the player a sense of urgency. I think this is why they give you Prism as a transition actually. Prism has healing reduction on it and they make you fight a Johan with ultimate. When reaching the final zone, we get another interlude where we'll have to fight my main character, Razi. And I like this a lot because Razi uses some of her actual quotes from the game in this interaction. The gunpowder line is a real line that she has, and her personality shines through when she sees ISIL as a tool rather than a friend. She will try to avenge him though, and you'll have to fight a final zone with her. Not going to say I called her instantly running up and vaulting, but just know I W and ulted backwards for the hard read. Takes a Razi player to know one. Ava was sulked about losing Nikki, and that's the end of this tutorial. You'll get Ava as a character for completing. This tutorial is kind of a banger. Love that we have cutscenes now. They're honestly the best part of them. I can't wait for them to get dubbed into all languages or even just to get some subtitles. Super good stuff. There's a lot of good information in the tutorials now, and I actually feel like they really teach the game. The tutorials don't end with a happy ending either. None of them. Which is good. The characters are meant to feel depressed and sad about being on the island, and the ones that are happy and excited are portrayed to be wild and chaotic. I really love this a lot, and I hope this is the direction that we go with the game. Of course, not all the information was good, and that's why I'm doing this series. In the next part of the series, I'm going to teach you about the introductory portions of the game. But if that's not your thing, click the video on the end screen to see my reaction to all the new cutscenes added to these tutorials.